Hello, good afternoon, good evening, and even good morning from wherever you are listening to LinkedIn Live. My name is Naishat Gadani, and I'm the founder of Your Career Down Under. And as you see, Caroline's not in today. She's gone on a sickie. I'm joking. She's not gone on sickie, but she has, taken a day off. She wanted to spend some time with her friends. So, good luck, Caroline. Hope you are having a great time wherever you are having your lunch. Down Bayside suburbs of Melbourne. But today it is solo, and I'll be flying solo the way Caroline did last week. But let me tell you why you see me coming up on your LinkedIn screen every day 3 p.m. because I'm here to deliver a care package, a career care package to you in these trying circumstances. And our intention is to provide hope and insight and guidance and interesting ideas in these circumstances to you so that you can navigate the COVID-19 powerfully, and you have got different ways to navigate this time. So that's why we bring different ideas, different perspectives, the guests to enlighten us and to bring a new perspective to the situation. So today it is my absolute pleasure to welcome Declan Kluver. He is from Blended Employment Solution. We tried to get Declan in probably in the first week of our show, but due to technical glitches, we could not, get him. But we made sure that he's got everything sorted, and I've got everything sorted so that we can bring him in. Declan, welcome from
Thank you.
you're from Brisbane.
Brisbane, yeah, sunny Queensland, as you can see outside. So it's not too sun. It's a little bit overcast today, so we're not used to it, but it's getting cold. I feel like we're in Melbourne. I think the other day in May, it was coldest day ever in 100 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, well, welcome. Declan, it's really pleasure, to have you, because we got to know each other through Manisha, who was kind enough to come on my LinkedIn Live probably last year and shared
Yeah.
her story of how she landed a job as a migrant. So, thank you for giving her a chance because it is very important to acknowledge, the contribution and the support that migrants or international graduates receive from the employers, so that they also feel optimistic and hopeful. But let's
Oh,
really talk about, Declan, tell us your story. How did you get started into recruitment? Give us some background.
my story, I think, well, I'm actually a boilermaker and coach bodybuilder by trade. So I was a tradesperson, got qualified, and then I think a lot of people, they sort of fall into it, and then they find it's a bit of a niche that they enjoy, and then their career sort of stems from there. So it was really, one of my friends was working at the previous company where I worked at called Rock Consulting here in Brisbane, and he referred me on to get a position with them. We did sales recruitment, so similar to what we do at the moment, and it was I just sort of hit the ground running. I got lucky with my first client, and then filled a couple of positions early, got used to it, and just really enjoyed it. And then I started Blended almost 2 years ago. It's gone quick. So September 2018, we started, and then that's sort of the history ever since. That's a quick
Excellent.
snapshot.
Oh, wow. So how long did you work as a boilermaker or in trades?
Yeah, so I worked, literally my apprenticeship lasted 4 years. So
Yep.
from 2010 to 2014. So we were making fire trucks, ambulances, emergency response vehicles for the mines, all those type of specialty vehicles.
Yeah, wow. It's very interesting, because coming from a trades background, and a lot of people make the career change, career transition,
Yeah.
reinvention, whatever that you call. But I am sort of also interested to know what really was a trigger for you to find out what other vocation could be, or did you just fell
Yeah.
into that by accident?
Oh, with being in a trade.
No, no, just being in the recruitment from trade to recruitment. How did?
So I left. I finished my trade. My dad was a maintenance fitter, and he was always harping on about, you got to get a trade, got to get a trade. It's a good qualification to fall back on. That's what I like. Everyone in my family, no one went to university, was in a trade. So that's just what I did. And then each year that went on, it just wasn't really for me. I didn't think I was getting, I didn't enjoy it. So then I finished in 2014, and then me and a friend, we started a cold pressed juice business with no idea what we were doing. So we started at the markets, and we saved up some money and we started bottling our own juices to sell to schools and cafes. And then we bought a really expensive commercial juicer, and then 12 months in, and then my business partner at the time, he decided he wanted to be a plumber, and he was obviously earning a great income doing that, and he didn't really see this juicing as a long-term thing. So so we shut it down, and then we had to pay off this juicer, and it was 2014, 2015, like the mines weren't very busy because there was a bit of a downturn in oil and gas and mining. So I couldn't get a job in the mines. I just kept getting rejected. And I didn't really try too hard because I didn't really want to be working away all the time. It was 21, 22. My friends were here. So, but I had to pay off this juicer. So I was like, I got a job in actually car sales because it was the only job I could get with no experience. So I was on, very low base, but at least I got a job. So I didn't care what job I did. I just didn't want to go back to being a boiler maker, and I just needed to pay this juicer off. That's all I worried about in my life at that time. So to get out of debt from this $27,000 juicer. So then I got a job in car sales. I paid down the juicer, and then it was about 18 months I did it for in car sales. And then one of my friends told me about recruitment, and this is how naive I was. I didn't even know people get paid to find people jobs. Like that's the honest truth. And then I went to an interview. I really liked my boss, and I was like, I really want to give this a go. So then I got into, I worked there for a year and 11 months. And then I think that like looking back, probably like being your own boss and having a juice, like when we had a little team and stuff, that just always resonated with me. Like it sort of lights you up. And so then that's how come I wanted to start Blended. So it was called Blended Juices. The juice company. And I was joking with my mate. I was like, imagine if we called it a blended employment. He's like, why don't you? So then, that's how we came up with the name.
Wow. That's a fascinating thing.
Yeah, I'm much better at making juices than I am filling rolls.
But that's really awesome, because, it's like, it's some trigger, something that really drives you. And that's what it is, pretty fascinating. And, was it too difficult in your head to adapt to that kind of changes? Because trade is a very different environment. Now, obviously, I've not worked in trade, but I was exposed to that to a certain degree. So I know it's a very different environment, and coming there to work in an office or to sell, was it too different mentally for you to make those change?
No, because we went from, like, I always worked in retail. Like on the weekends, I'd still started at work at Nike, Amard All Sports through school. So I was always interacting with customers. And when you if you look at being a tradesman to recruitment, that would be a big step. But, I went from, always doing retail sales. We did the juice bar. We were serving clients. And then we went to do the bottled juice. So then we had to proactively reach out to clients to get new business. We go to auditing. And then I ended up in car sales where everyone comes to you. So it was pretty gradual, even though it was like within 18 months, 2 years to get into recruitment. It was pretty, looking back, it was pretty gradual. So it wasn't like I was just dropped the welder and all of a sudden calling people on the phone.
Well, that's really awesome, man. That's it just it just gives that faith to and all the listeners also. That is what is very, very important thing is that it is possible for you to reinvent your career. And I really liked this story. If I can give another dimension to that, is that you were always involved into some other vocation as well simultaneously. So you were, as you said, customer facing roles, selling juice and everything else, while you're managing your sort of trades role. And that's what I think makes it interesting, because you were then able to, I don't like to use that word again, but pivot to what your natural abilities are. Because it seems to me, Declan, by talking to you, by listening to your story, that sales or being involved with people comes very naturally to you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it actually, Blake, who I referred to you. Yeah, so we've been mates for years, and it actually, I was in grade 10 or 11, and I was really shy, and I would never talk, like wouldn't go out of my way to talk to people. And Blake's very out there, and he's very comfortable with people. And he goes, mate, everyone thinks you're arrogant. And I was like, what?
Oh.
Like, I would never. I don't think I'm arrogant. And and then he's like, yeah, you actually need to talk to people because they think you're just rude. And I was just shy. And then from that, it sort of made me look at myself, and then I was more conscious of that.
Wow.
So then, saying hello to people, saying thanks.
Yeah.
I always say please and thank you, but like saying hello, going out of your way, making small chat at a bus stop or something, then slowly just build up. Yeah, it's a bit of a slap in the face, but I'll never forget that. He just straight out told me that, and that changed everything.
Absolutely. So now let's talk about how, because recruitment, is also heavily impacted in this COVID-19 times. We have seen recruiters losing jobs. We had couple of recruiters last month. They themselves were made redundant, and they were kind enough to come and talk about what are they doing and what they can do for the job seekers. But I want to understand from a business point of view, how have you survived, personally and professionally during these times?
Yeah, I think like last month was really bad in recruitment. That's the worst month I've ever had since we started. I think we had a really good start to the year. Like the start to 2020, everyone was excited. We had we placed a lot of roles, so we had business-wise, we were in a good position.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped us out. And then when it would have been the last week of March, early April, we had all of our whole pipeline fell over. So it all fell over. Clients pulled out on jobs. Everything got cancelled. People that were due to start were then pushed. The start dates were changed, and then ultimately they didn't start. And it was a big shock at the time. So then it was just getting through that week really, and just trying to stay positive. And then now in Queensland, we've had a few roles come back this month, which is really positive. And because we mainly do a lot of work we got a couple clients in Sydney, but mainly in Queensland and Melbourne are most of our clients. So Melbourne's picked up a little bit, but with the restrictions being a bit more relaxed up here, we've been able to pick up more jobs in Queensland. So things are getting back on the up. We're not the biggest business in the world, so it's not like we've got 15, 20 wages to pay. So we're quite nimble, and with suppliers like Seek have been really helpful in helping us, cut back on major costs with on their end, and they've been offering that from themselves. So we've been able to cut back on a few costs, which would have been pretty big otherwise. And then just stay positive. We've merged with a company called Work Health Checks. So we've been selling and marketing they take care of the back end of stuff, and we manage more client services things. Yeah. So we do that for them. So that's been good. We're doing pre-employment checks, exit checks, mental health checks, return to work. So they're all medically reviewed and assessments. Yep. So that's been sort of our Trojan horse as well, being able to pivot, and that's an extra service that we have integrated with Blended, which I think is great for the future.
Absolutely. So you were kind of cut back on cost and became more nimble in how you approach things.
You don't realize how many subscriptions you sign up to without even knowing. And then you check over and you're like, oh, well, what's this again? So
I agree.
How many subscriptions? They may be $14 or $100 a month, but they add up. Yeah,
agree. And if you're not using it, then that's where it makes it difficult sometimes. If you're using it, that's fine. But did you ramp up your efforts on during this time? Did you put in more efforts to go to the employer and understanding what are they struggling with, so that you kind of build that ongoing relationships with them?
Yeah, we have to just do the best we can in that regard. Like in regards to getting new clients, like last month, it was super rough. There's freezes on everywhere. No one's meeting anyone. Everyone was pretty depressed. Like we were still cold calling, marketing to new clients. And they're like, are you serious? Like, do you know what's going on? Have you seen how many people are losing their jobs, and you're calling up about recruitment? Because I like this is just my view. Like Seek have a pretty, they've got a big part of the market, and you can gauge how many. It says how many jobs are in each industry, and then usually because in sales and marketing there's usually between 8,000 or 9,000 jobs available, and it dropped down to 1,200 jobs. So that's like 70 or 80%. It's a massive drop. Just literally in 2 weeks, it just evaporated. So I think now it's back up to around 2,500. So it's 2 times better than what it was a month ago.
Yeah. So what are employers now, since you've just started to see some ray of hope, what are employers are telling you now? Are they more optimistic? Are they still kind of cautious? Obviously, the impact of job keeper, payment is also slowly starting to, or even job seeker payment would be slowly starting to trickle down in the economy. But what are the employers are really telling you about future of hiring?
Yeah, so we work across a range of industries. A lot of online businesses. We do a lot of work in technical sales positions. So you could be selling to mining companies, or even like one of our other clients. They supply. One of the clients, they supply PPE and hygiene and uniforms and everything. They've had a lot of growth through this period, so they're continuing to hire. Another company, they sell electrical solutions into the mining sector, so that they're still going ahead. Another one of our clients they do all the uniform for security guards, police, ambulance, fisheries. So those departments still need to be serviced, so they don't sell to the general public. So like a lot of business, this is, of course, going to happen in the jobs, like people looking for jobs. There's a lot of negativity, but the businesses that are still prospering, the business owners are positive, because, a lot of people are optimistic in these situations, because there's been a great growth experience for us. These are some of the best times in business. And that sounds really weird to say, but this is when you get tested, you learn a lot of yourself, you learn how to budget, run your numbers better, you learn how to fight for better deals. Your service has to rise, otherwise you'll be forgotten. And you can't just sit around and do nothing, because there's no day when Scott Morrison's not going to come out and say, all right, guys, everyone back to work, and all of a sudden you get the calls and everything's back. I think because we've been able to stay you're open to good opportunities coming, but if you just get used to being a job keeper, not calling for any new clients, not touching base with anything, you can pretty much go backwards, and all your hard work you've done up until this stage is just a waste of time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think you got to put in, more money. It feels like sometimes running on the treadmill, where you are running, but the treadmill isn't going anywhere. That's how.
Every time you think something like you're like, this is it. Like I've given enough, and I don't know what's going to. So the universe will always save you just at the right time. Even though you wish it saved you a bit earlier, it always just gives you something that's out of the blue, and you're like, oh, I needed that. That's what I found.
No, I absolutely agree. So let's talk about currently. Obviously, you're still receiving phone calls from job seekers. You're still receiving approaches from the job seekers. What are your views on how somebody, let's say, in a couple of ways? One is somebody who's been made unemployed or retrenched right now, or someone who has been unemployed even before COVID-19 time. So what are your thoughts on how a job seeker should approach the current market, and what are some of the ways that they can start to work with the recruitment agencies?
Yeah, sure. So I'd really be picky on the recruitment agencies I went to, because you'd want them to be the ones that specialize in the industries in which you want to work in, because that's what I'd find one that actually has the different jobs for you, being a recruitment agency. And then also, nothing's really changed, to be honest. Nothing's changed. You can only apply on Seek, LinkedIn, job boards. You can still message people on LinkedIn, DM them. I would put speak to industry-specific recruiters in industries that are obviously going ahead. And it's pretty simple to see what industries are moving ahead. Food production. What else would there be? I know oil and gas is taking a back seat. It just depends on the type of role. I'm sort of a bit lost at the moment on that. But there's no new way to do things. There's just a lot of volume. Like our ads are getting for an ad that would usually get 60 applicants, we're sort of getting 200 of applicants apply. Yeah, so because we do like very niche positions, so there's a high volume of candidates coming through and applying for positions, and that'll be over a 2-week period. But that's it's a lot of people. So we're looking at different ways, and not saying every single, obviously not all of those people are for the job, but there's just a lot of people, because there's obviously still more people in the market and there's less jobs available. So that's always going. So I'll be looking at ways.
And then a lot of people would be looking at also changing career or applying the different skills into new role, isn't it?
Because, for example, recruitment, a lot of recruitment consultants have lost their jobs, so they're not really going to get another job in recruitment. They'll be looking to change industries. So, and it's a good opportunity for companies that are going ahead. If you are open to people that want to come from a new industry, there's some great talent out there. There's a lot of great, highly skilled people, passionate, keen, really, really wanting to work. So if you're a company that's going ahead, now's the time to get some good people on board, I believe, because usually those people do still continue working at that workplace.
Yeah, absolutely. So walk me through this process. Let's say, on an average, let's say you receive 100 applications. Do you start to screen the application on the same day that it arrives, or do you have a kind of, let's say, let the application come through and then we will start to screen them for a specific role in 2-3 days time? How does that work?
Yeah, so we try and be as proactive as possible. So most of our ads would go up over the weekend, and then so Monday morning you come in, say you get 100 applicants over 2 weeks. You get probably 40 or 50 of them in the first 24 hours to 48 hours when it goes live, and we get on it straight away. So as soon as the candidates come through, we'll scan through the CVs straight away every morning. So we'll just go through our candidates. So until 10 o'clock, we're scanning through all of what candidates we have available that have applied overnight or contacted or got back to us from ones that we've reached out to, and then and then we organise our phone interviews, face-to-face interviews, and then we can present them to our clients. Because if you leave it, obviously recruitment's pretty, you don't get paid unless you fill the role.
Absolutely.
So it's interest to be as proactive as possible. And if you do it that way, you can have less work to do, because, it's a pretty mundane job if you're looking at 300 CVs to then sift through for a whole day. You know what I mean? Who wants to do that? So if you do it every day, it's little bite-sized chunks.
Absolutely.
And other activities that are going to be even more beneficial to the business as well.
Absolutely. So do you use an applicant tracking system internally for your?
No, we use Job Adder. So we use Job Adder and CRM. It's applicant tracking system.
So does it have an inbuilt ATS where you can scan resume for keywords and everything? Yeah,
no, there's add-ons for that. But but we can do add-ons and add that into your business. But I've just sort of maybe old school, but I just go through manually, and most of the time, for example, we got a lighting company, a role at the moment, and the electronics, and they selling into mining. So they need someone who's got mining experience, they need someone who's got sales experience, they need someone from electrical background. So it's, and lives in Brisbane within the salary range. So it's not, you're not going to get 10 people that have all that experience that are looking for a job right now. So it's when you know what you're looking for, and when you find it, it's sort of enough.
Absolutely. So how much time, because there are theories around this, right? That, recruiters spend 6 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds. But give us your theory. So you open up someone's resume. How much time do you really spend on that?
It really, you get good at knowing the exact parts to look at, because you have in your head exactly what they need to have. So, people who aren't in the industry might think, this 6 to 10 second thing sounds ridiculous. But with, I'll just quickly log in.
Yeah.
You sort of have a few key points that are common sense to make it a good application. So one, you can see straight away the types of companies they've worked at is going to determine which ones, there's sort of 3 or 4 things I look for straight away, the types of companies they've worked at, their tenure, where they're located, and if they've got Australian contact details. So you can look at those things pretty quickly. Because if they haven't worked at the companies that are within the industry that we're in, then like that's a big, because most of the time people need industry experience. So that's a big tick out of the question. If they've changed jobs every 2 to 4 months, then that's not going to be good. We usually look for anyone that's been able to maintain 2 years in a sales position, because it takes that long to build up clients to be able to start generating business.
Absolutely. So you said 4 things that you look at. Do you look at the accomplishments, whether what this person has really contributed to the business?
Yeah, like it depends. Some people include that. Like I love sales or a sales candidate would put in their sales figures.
Sure.
Like, this was my target. This is what I achieved. Like, but not everyone does that. So
absolutely,
most people have like their professional summary, which is just a little summary about them, which is pretty similar to everyone. They've got their skills, which is pretty generic. Qualification-wise, that's handy. Not so much in sales, because it doesn't. You could have, an MBA or whatever, but it might not be. It couldn't. It's not guaranteed that you're going to be a better salesperson because you've done an MBA.
Absolutely.
But you always. Some employees make education important, like in engineering sales, like you'd be selling technical solutions. If you come from an engineering background, like mechanical, then obviously that'll be a major bonus. So we definitely, that's a prerequisite for that sales position.
Absolutely.
So we just look at the companies they've worked for, their tenure, and in their job role. Because if they're going for a development role that need to create new business, but they're an account manager who just looks after managing accounts.
Right, they're not working out.
Be interested in a BDM role. So we still call them, but it's that's sort of.
But how do you? So let's say Declan, because at the same time, right now people will be changing, career pathways also. So typically, what you said, being an account manager, but I'm just managing a set accounts right now, and must have done business development work. How do you want that person to really portray the skill on the resume? And would that person, do you think, will have a chance right now in this tough market, or how do they really differentiate themselves?
Yeah, like I said, I'd still call them if they say they worked for a direct competitor, they're in an account management role, and it's a BDM role. I'd still call them because they obviously applied for the job. So they obviously want to make some sort of change. But if you are changing jobs, I'd just put a note in there. Be like, I know I'm an account manager, but I'd like to be in a BDM role. Because BDM's like frontline sales. They're the one knocking down doors, cold calling, building new relationships. It's not for the faint-hearted. So most account managers, they're the ones that look after an existing portfolio. They're really good at customer service. They're really good at nurturing existing relationships. It's 2 very different types of people. BDMs is knocking on doors, passing them over. The account manager makes sure you're over-serviced and super looked after. So, and then BDMs, sometimes they don't want to. Business development managers don't want to do all that stuff. They just get the thrill out of booking the appointment, booking the meeting, getting them signed up, and going on to the next one. So that's when it takes more time to. And some people have in sales, they might have generalized, because it's up to the company they work for what they get called. They might be doing, like example, a candidate today, they might be account manager, but most of her, like 40% of her role is business development.
Yeah.
And that's perfect for the role that we were looking for. So she's going ahead, and she came in today.
Absolutely.
It just takes that. Like if they're from the industry, because people can change industries, but it doesn't mean the clients want people to change industries. So we can only go off what our client wants.
That's right, and that's what I think is a very good point, Declan. Is that sometimes recruiters are not doesn't have a great reputation. Just because people feel that they are kind of gatekeepers and they're not allowing us to sort of get in. But it's the employers who are saying that this is what I want. Get me this person. I'm not. Even though then it's a tough sell sometimes for the recruiter to go back and say, look, I did not find this person, but I found this person. Do you want to continue, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And that's when you just got to work with your clients to, we call it opening up the brief. And they may have it too strict, and they're limiting themselves to some great talent.
Yeah.
So that's a 50-50 thing. You got to work with them together.
Yeah, I have a theory, and I've never tested with a recruiter, but I'll probably test it with you. What I tell my clients, Declan, is that look, the recruitment consultants are also, kind of, you know, sort of running in to close the order, because it's not just one recruitment agency sometimes gets the order to fill the position. It might be
Yeah,
two or three different companies who are chasing and finding talent and want to fill as quickly as they can, because that's how the business really works.
yeah,
So they are also looking at, in a way, the closest fit possible to the role as possible. So it is the job seeker's responsibility to really outline why they are a good fit for the role, something that the recruiter find it easy to handle and easy to deal with, rather
yeah,
than complicated document which say, look, I just don't, even though you could be the great person for the job, but I just cannot handle this complexity of your document, of your work history. How much true is that,
yeah. I
that
don't.
the recruiters are also looking at, the closest fit? So let's say, for example, someone who's wanting to change career, as we outlined, from a account
Yeah,
manager to business development. So it is that person's responsibility to outline why he or she would be a great BDM.
yes,
It's not
correct.
the recruiter's responsibility to kind of investigate and find out
No,
that you would be a great BDM, isn't it?
yeah, correct. Like even
Yeah.
I one person on paper, I presumed I spoke to him, and but I think like if you are changing industries, like get on the phone. Like it's an
Mm,
expectation. If you're applying for a sales job and you send a CV and you don't follow up, like is that what you're going to do to your clients? Is that what you're going to do to
yes.
our clients? Like there's all those little steps that we look for, and when you do get high volume roles, sometimes the people
Yeah.
that for part time positions, I've had 700 applicants for a job, and it's
Wow.
literally list has been the ones that have called up because there's just that
Oh,
many applicants to go through, and you just like that would be over a 3 week period, and it's
wow.
just overload. And the ones that call
Absolutely.
up are the ones that are right because they believe they're right, and usually, yeah, I'm not going to say it's right every time. But usually, the ones that call up, they're interested in the job, they want the job,
Yeah.
and they're the ones that end up going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a question. The question is, Declan, about this, especially after the COVID-19. What are some of the protocols that job seekers can expect from the recruiter? Because the face-to-face coffee thing that used to be quite popular and quite acceptable will probably be a while to before it normalizes, before everyone feels comfortable
Yeah.
in meeting someone unknown. So what are your views on moving forward? How should a job seeker should still approach recruiter in these times?
Yeah, I think we could just do a simple video call like this.
Hmm.
Where it really depends on the candidate. It's really case by case. Make sure you got, unlike me, make sure you got a well lit room for your video. If you're going to do a video interview, that definitely helps. But I think it depends it's really personal preference. Like
Hmm.
I still met every candidate this week,
Hmm.
so like where our office is open, we're meeting people. We're
Yep.
social distance, don't shake hands, and it's yeah, that's us. So I would
Sure.
still just treat it as per usual.
Sure.
We haven't had really any client meetings, but yeah, it's really case by case.
Case
If they
by
want
case.
to meet,
Yeah.
and more comfortable to meet, then meet and
Yeah.
keep social distancing and practice it like you would in any other meeting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, also, this idea of building relationship with recruiter is kind of, everybody talks about it, but tell us somebody who, in your view, built a great relationship with you. Give us an example of a personal experience that you had with a candidate who really did tick all the boxes and built something from the scratch. Can you give us an example of that?
Yeah, yeah. One recently, he I hadn't even seen his CV. He called me straight away as soon as he sent his CV in. And he actually he booked the interview over the phone for it to come and see me, which like in sales that's pretty good. And he explained all his background and everything. We had a good chat. Yeah, and then he started in the role, and we've kept in touch ever since. And I think and like we've got each other on Facebook, and yeah, it's just like a mate. It's like that with a fair few of our candidates, because like we don't ever take, once you place someone in a role, you don't ever take them from the company. Like that's a big
absolutely
in our eyes. So
absolutely,
I've had people that I've placed in jobs years ago, and they've left the employer and they've come back to me, and you still remember each other, and then you work together again.
absolutely,
or they've worked somewhere else and then get in touch with you again.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the most of the recruiters would give a call to the job seeker once you've seen someone's resume and say, this person seems to be something that I'm looking at. What do you look for in that phone call, first 5-10 minutes? Because my view is it's all about the confidence, the energy, and the excitement, or the kind of what we say, the cultural fit for that
Yeah.
role. But what do you really look? What are you really listening in that 10-15 minute call?
Yeah, sure. So like the way they answer the phone is just, yeah, mate, how are you? It's like, you don't even know who I am. They wouldn't even have my number, never spoken before. And if that's how they answer their work phone or even their personal phone, it's a bit off-putting, but that rarely ever happens. And then the ability, because in sales, like we need people who are going to build rapport. So that's the biggest thing. Like, do they build rapport, or is it just like yes, no answers? Very cagey, like they don't want to tell you information because everything's so-called confidential. But that's the biggest thing. You want someone you can hit it off with and have a good conversation with, their guards down, and just honesty. And they're not trying to oversell themselves. They're just telling you about themselves. Because nothing's worse than cliche lines like, "Oh, what are your salary expectations?" "Oh, $1 million." Just like if it was up to me, I'd you know what I mean? So it's all people that want to make your job easier. Like seriously, everyone wants life to be easy for them. It doesn't mean you're lazy.
True.
It's just make the process easy for everyone. That's why clients use recruiters, so they don't have to do an ad on Seek. They don't have to worry about the job. They don't have to do all the groundwork. So everyone just wants life to be easier for them. So if you're a candidate, you can be easy to deal with. It's stress free. You're easy to it's easy going. That's the biggest things that I look for. And making sure they answer questions straight.
Yeah, and what are some of the kind of weird experiences that you had with job seekers and said, "Oh wow, I would never hire," or "This is just way off the field"?
It's we had one. We had one the other day. They I don't know. Can you say this type of stuff on LinkedIn Live?
But any strange experiences that you felt that, look, this is a big no, I would never hire this person at all?
A big no, like asking the recruiter on a date.
Oh wow, yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
Don't ask me on a date. That's
oh wow, yeah.
That's
I never heard of that, by the way, but yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's
never heard of that.
It's happened. Yeah, I've been asked on a date. I said I'll just call my partner and find out.
And in terms of if we, because we're getting some good feedback, Caroline, she's eating fish and chips somewhere, that's what she said. But so to coming to the last question, one thing that I really want to understand from recruiters' point of view is the negotiation of salary. Because it's like real estate agent. The real estate agents, has got a seller, and the seller says, look, this is what I want to sell, and they've got a buyer, and they are kind of in between somewhere, managing both the
Yeah.
expectations. So tell us some of the kind of insights around how a job seeker should negotiate a better deal with recruiter.
Yeah. And when starting out, this was a part that I was really bad at in my career. Like, if I got a salary range from 80 to 100, I put forward everyone at 100, and then the client would offer 80, and I'd be like, oh, I've done all this work, and now we're in this silly negotiations, and so now I'm just if a client says, I get them to obviously make it as small as possible, and usual rule of thumb, if they go 70 to 80,000, they're always going to offer 70. So that's why I'm just very, very clear. I like 70, maybe 75. So we get the candidates, like when they get interviewed by us, we get like the first is like your notice period, like what your salary are. We write it, like we fill it out in their form, and then like what holidays or time off they have coming up, and then we get into like the actual interview questions, because that is then it's just rock solid, and because nothing's more painful than getting to the end of the process and you're in that juggling act. So I always just go, rule of thumb is what the lowest offer is. Just say that's the roll. Don't go ahead if it's any more. Depending on the client, if I know the client and they're flexible and I've worked with them before, but and most of the time people it's just better that way. It's upfront, it's locked in, and because the last thing you want to surprises. Because as a recruitment consultant, your job is relying on everyone telling you the truth. If not every single person you're just a lie detector. You're just trying to work out who's lying to me, who's full of it, who's telling me the truth, and that's what your job is, to work lie detector. So and that's from a client and a candidate.
Absolutely.
Client wise, I mean, like, we got the best. Everyone says they got the best culture. So we got the best culture. We never have staff turnover. The candidate gets in the role, and they're like, "Oh, mate, good to see you. You're the fourth person this week. I hope you make a go of it." You know what I mean? So you're relying on, like, because then if you know that about, you can work with them to be like, how did we even get here? Let's make fixes before we can recruit the role. Because we're not going to be we're a recruiter. We're not going to put a magic person in, and you guys are doing all the same stuff that's made every other person leave. Just because you paid a fee from our candidate doesn't mean they're going to put up with everyone bullying or harassment, or not harassment, but whatever goes on.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
So that's
that makes sense. That really makes sense.
This role's 70 grand. You're happy with 70, and I just reinforce that the whole way through. Did the client bring up salary in the interview? Yep, you spoke. Yeah, he said it was 70K. Well, no surprise, 70K. And then I've gotten a lot better at being a lot firmer with that. Because you don't want to waste everyone's time. The candidate gets upset, you get upset, the client gets upset. It's a drain on everyone. Everyone's got to restart the process.
Agree.
So I'm just very particular on that now.
Agree. Yeah, because that could be the kind of things that will not get the deal through. Because I remember one of my experiences is one of the TAFE here. I got through the interview and they offered me the job. They sent me a contract, and the contract had the salary which was inclusive of superannuation. Then I checked the job description, which did not say anything about this. Then I said, but they said, this is what you asked for. I said, no, this is what I asked for, but I never said that it was inclusive of super. It was always exclusive of super. But they said, no, we didn't, this is what we can offer. And then I had to decline. That's a great job. But then I had to decline because it was just going to take 10% off the salary. But then I learned that I need to be absolutely clear. Every time, don't assume that if I say 70K, that means that it is exclusive of super. No, I need to explicitly say the 70,000 plus superannuation.
And when we send over our we give our candidates like a candidate profile. So it's got notes in there, like the products they sold, who they sell to, industries they sell to, their sales figures, reasons for leaving, decision makers they deal with, key achievements for each of their roles. So they get that, and then also the salary is on there, whether it's a car or car allowance in sales. So, even if a client were to come back and offer them less, it's like, hey, we've written that there from the start. You interviewed them on the basis that you would offer them 70K, like don't offer them 65. And that's been like, and you actually submit them at a price, at the salary that everyone's after. So like say, for example, it's 70 to 80, there might be a 70K candidate who's got less experience, 75 has half the experience, and then 80 has the exact experience. So then in those situations, it works perfectly, and they can tell why that happens. Because if they're not going to offer an 80K candidate 70 grand, they'll just look silly. So, given when I started Blended, that was the one thing, because I was so bad at that in the past when I started. And you think like you're trying to budget as well for your job because it's relying on you filling the position. And we've done all the groundwork, and then nothing's worse than negotiating about a role. It's not exciting anymore once it's been back and forth times for the candidate. Like it's like, yes, I got the job. I'm excited. I'm telling my mates this weekend. Mum's going to be so happy, and then it's got to be a good experience for everyone. They just get the contract, salary is what it says, maybe a little bit more. I've had some clients go, yeah, you put him forward at 85, but we've given him 90, and then the candidate's wrapped. You know what I mean? So and then they start even in a better position. They're like, far out. I was only expecting to get 85. I got 90. This is the best company ever. So then and they start getting 90. So
excellent. All right, Declan, thank you very much. Look, it's been sensational, and finally we get to chat with you. We wish you very, very best with your blended employment. And we wish that you continue to grow and become much bigger player in recruitment space.
We're still in our apprenticeship. We're only a second-year apprentice, so we're getting there.
No, you are. Absolutely, you are. I really, loved your energy and the positive outlook. That's what the feedback that, we got is that the way you responded to the feedback that Blake gave you says a volume about you, because it isn't, easy to receive, to process, and then to act on that. So that says a volume about you, Declan, and wish you all more power to your work.
No, I appreciate it, and I really appreciate what you do for everyone on here as well. It's fantastic because I know you've got your normal job, and then this is on top. So
it's
exciting when I've got 12 years against Blended.
Awesome, man. All right, have a great rest of the day, and we'll chat soon. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Chad. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.